for this one, James.
Well, thanks, Rich. So much of the talk throughout this season has been about the growing pains with this Bucs offense. And Bruce Arians told me, Rich, that he never panicked because they're always so close. And he said the bye week, everything fell into place. And he's right. They've been 4-0 since the bye, and this is the best 4-game stretch to finish a regular season in Tom Brady's career. Rob Gronkowski's played 147 games in his career with Brady, and he told me these 4 games have been incredible. But those that haven't been around Brady are experiencing playoff Tom Brady for the first time this week. I'm told anything that wasn't right this week was corrected and done immediately. Usually pull somebody off to the side. This week, Rich, he did it right in front of everybody, addressed it right away.
And these are just some numbers that, quite honestly, I mean, let's shoot it straight here. For the first half of the season, maybe for the first 2/3 of the season, going into their bye week in week 13, we didn't know if Brady had any shot of having some best of his career numbers or best in a long time numbers as his 2020 season. He had 40 touchdown passes, Kurt Warner, which is the most in his incredible off-the-charts 2007 undefeated regular season with Randy Moss and the Patriots. And we have this topic bar at the bottom of the screen thanks to the way that he and the Bucs finished up after that bye week. What has impressed you most about Tom Brady's first non-Patriot season, Kurt?
Well, Rich, it's exactly what James was talking about. I mean, it felt like for 20 years when he was in New England, what we always said come December is now they're rounding into form. Doesn't really matter what happens the first 3 months of the season. It's what happens the last month. And amazingly, now he goes down to Tampa, and you talked about it. There were some ups and downs, and we weren't sure if he was going to get it all put together. Well, come December, it's the same old playoff Tom Brady, rounding into form, playing his best football, and garnering the guys around him to play their best football. And that, to me, is what's most impressive. Having played in the league, it is tough to flip that switch just because it comes playoff time, but it seems like Tom Brady has an extra means of being able to say, hey, I know what time it is. Let's flip it. Let's play our best football, and let's make a run.
And then bringing the rest of the team with him. First time, again, the Buccaneers have made the playoffs since 2008, and he's the one to go ahead and do that. Looks like Kurt Warner's made a GCP in his suit game. Well done. Stepping it up for the playoffs. Way to go. GCP. Number 13. Last year, as we all know, okay, very good. Last year, as we all know, Tom Brady got one and done by Mike Vrabel in New England, former teammate of his. And look who's coming to town to try and one and done the Buffalo Bills in their first 13-win season since 1991. Mr. Comeback himself, Frank Reich, now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. That's the first game of the wild card weekend. Kim Jones in Orchard Park, New York.
That's right, Rich Eisen. Well, first home playoff game for the Bills in 25 years, and first game with fans all season. 6,700 Bills fans, and I bet they'll sound louder. Meanwhile, back in 2017, when Sean McDermott became the Bills head coach, he challenged his players to envision a home playoff game in the cold of January with the salt crunching under their cleats. A few years later, that's exactly where these Bills are today. Rich?
And then this scene from Buffalo Bills practice, they're dancing to Can't Touch This, for those wondering.
MC Hammer?
Oh,
hey,
Hammer time. Wow,
ain't nobody been able to touch him lately.
And look at Josh Allen getting down there, hopefully.
He can't dance. Look at him.
Well, I mean, hopefully. Loose hips. Okay, so the Buffalo Bills, since week 12, since basically that Hail Murray, losing to the Hail Murray, they haven't lost, and they've just been on tilt. They have been on tilt. Every number you see on the screen, best in the National Football League. Diggs, Allen, off the charts. The defense have also tightened the bolts. Mooch, Herb, take it away.
Yeah, that's so good.
A quarter of a century since they've hosted a playoff game in Orchard Park. Are you kidding me? Mike, talk about the biggest concern for the Bills today.
Well, Coach, and a couple things here, man. You heard these guys talking about how Tom Brady is on that playoff level thing because that pressure in the playoffs brings about different things. I always say to people, pressure does one or two things. It makes the good fold, but makes the great focus. See, Tom Brady focused. Tom Brady focused. But last year, This young man, Josh Allen, he actually folded.
He did.
He folded in it because they were up 13-0 at halftime, coach, and then they ended up losing this game 22-19 to the Texans because they could not stand the moment. That's what worries me today. Can they handle the moment? You just see how great they played all the last 6 games, but can they handle the moment? Now, speaking of memorable moments marked in history, Stephon Diggs knows how to handle the moment. We remember that 61-yarder he had in 2017. He did it all year. He'll do it again today for the Bills.
Those are moments. Let me just talk about a general idea, because this Colts team is a very well-coached team.
Yes, they
Mike,
are.
they do not beat themselves, all right?
Yeah.
They are the only team in the AFC that's top 10 on offense and defense in scoring. They're the only team in the AFC that's top 10 in offense and defense and total offense. This is a team that's primed for the playoffs, right? They run the ball, they stop the run, and that's a good recipe for playoff success in possible inclement weather. This is going to be, that's the concern. This is a good football team.
And that's
Colts.
why the Bills better be ready, coach, because this team is a good team. I'm telling you.
Richard,
Mortgage Super Bowl Squares is back, people, with millions of dollars in prizes. It's the largest official game of Super Bowl Squares ever, and it's free to enter. Every time the score changes during Super Bowl 55, one lucky winner will receive $50,000, plus Rocket Mortgage is giving away 2 grand prizes of $500,000 you could use toward your dream home. So see rules and enter for free at rocketmortgagesquares.com. Kurt, later on today, Alex Smith's amazing journey rolls on. Take it away.
You know, Rich, after all the challenges we've faced in life, my wife and I have adopted an expression in our house. Never let your circumstances define you. Because so often in life, it's one unexpected or unwelcome event that can stop us in our tracks, can alter our perspective, and strip us of our purpose. That is exactly what happened to Alex Smith after suffering what he believed to be a career-ending injury. But then, he received a special exemption to rehab at the Center for the Intrepid, where he would meet and recover with servicemen and women who had suffered a similar life-altering injury. It was there where a football was placed back in his hands, where his purpose was brought back into focus, and where he would write the first chapter of his epic comeback story.
They've already called for the cart for Alex Smith.
Smith is hurt badly, and it does not look good.
What was the lowest moment of the comeback?
When I was stuck in the hospital bed and when I was stuck in the wheelchair, I literally built up all these walls, I feel like, and I just sat there for so long wondering what I'd ever be able to do again. Was I ever going to be able to walk normal? You know, was I ever going to be able to play with my kids? In my first trip down to the Center for the Intrepid, and that was the first time they put a football in my hands and really made it okay for me to even think about that. I couldn't even walk, and they had me start throwing, and I remember how therapeutic it was to get a ball again and start throwing, and it really energized me.
Once you had kind of made that decision, you were all in. Was everybody around you on board with that decision?
I think everybody was really encouraging at first. You know, sure, when I was, on crutches and just learning to walk. And they said my leg was good to go play tackle football again, which for me were words that I wasn't sure were ever going to happen. That's when I think it got real for everybody.
Alex Smith, for the first time since November 18th of 2018, when he had that nasty compound fracture in his right leg, is back out here.
Just tell me about the emotions of running back onto the field and playing the first time.
There were probably only 200 fans in the stands. It was pouring rain. My wife and kids were like 12 rows up. I could basically almost talk to them from the sidelines.
Boy, you saw his wife Elizabeth in the kids zone in the crowd. I mean, what a nervous moment this must be for them.
And then when the hit happened to Kyle, it was almost nice in that sense that I didn't have very long to think about it. I ran over, grabbed my helmet, and next thing I know, I'm calling a play.
Some pressure, and there's the first time Alex Smith is hit as he's taken down and sacked.
Crazy to have that first hit and, Aaron Donald jumping on your back.
Alex Smith thankfully does pop up and jogs off okay.
But what a great moment it is right there. That's fantastic.
But obviously it felt amazing too. That first hit, you had in a long time. It always felt nice to know for me in 2 years that I was okay.
Now, Kurt, here's something Brenda would appreciate right there. Some metal works right there. Not letting your circumstances define you, but letting
that's cool.
Letting the leg brace turn into
a Lombardi,
a de facto Lombardi trophy.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
this is what Alex's wife Liz put on Instagram this week. Okay, Ian Rappaport. The question is, though, is Alex Smith and that leg injury that he has suffered with the calf that kept him out a couple of weeks in December, is that going to keep him out tonight?
It may keep him out tonight. In fact, that is the way it is trending for the Washington football team, that Taylor Heinicke could end up being the starting quarterback against Tom Brady tonight. Alex Smith, who has battled, of course, you mentioned, dealing with that calf injury, came in sore yesterday. That really helped everyone, led everyone to pump the brakes on his static. They want to get more information, see how he is this morning. But if he's experiencing the same sort of soreness, and they believe he will, then Taylor Heinicke could be the one starting, not Alex Smith, the potential comeback player of the year.
Oh, my. So Taylor Heinicke, who is he? He was drafted out of the Old Dominion program in 2015. He's the all-time passing leader for that institution of higher learning. One career start with Carolina, when obviously his head coach was Ron Rivera. And he also got some run in Week 16 in Washington football team's Week 16 contest against Carolina. That set them up for that win-and-in scenario in Week 17. Kurt, what do you think about this news? What hits you first?
Well, I mean, I think just the disappointment of, Alex getting back in there. We just talked about it, just showed his story and leading this team, because he truly did become the leader of this team. The way they were winning was based off of obviously what their defense was doing, but how Alex Smith was taking care of the football, making the plays that he needed to make. We knew it was going to be a tough task for them offensively to hold up to Tom Brady and what's happening in Tampa. But I think this really, really hurts the football team from a leadership standpoint, and just what he brings to the table on an every down basis, not putting their team ever in harm's way.
Whoa. Well, we were all hoping that he was feeling well enough to play, but that he's got to feel good about this. And if there's any soreness, you know what? The rest of your life is a heck of a lot more important than playing in this game right now. So he's got to be very concerned about that. So let's keep our fingers crossed and see what happens if he starts or not. But obviously their chances with Taylor Heinicke are not as good. And so we're all thinking about you, Alex.
Yeah, but this team has to play a real hot Tampa team right now. Last 4 games, these guys are averaging about 37 points a game. And, Alex, even with Alex in there, they were averaging Washington was averaging about 26. So now you go to Heinicke, who was only at 137 yards and 1 touchdown. In this situation, I talked earlier about memorable moments marked in history. If this kid can get in here and do something, though,
there you go.
Oh, my God, let's turn this on the other side. If this kid gets in and plays